In January 1791, President George Washington's Secretary of the Treasury, Alexander Hamilton, proposed an excise tax upon spirits distilled within the United States and for appropriating the same. What Congress failed to predict was a rejection of this tax by Americans living on the frontier of western Pennsylvania. By 1794, the Whiskey Rebellion threatened the United States and forced President Washington to personally lead the United States militia westward to stop the rebels. By 1791, the United States suffered from debt from the Revolutionary War. Hamilton, a Federalist supporting increased federal authority, intended to use the excise tax to lessen this financial issue. Despite resistance from anti-Federalists like Thomas Jefferson, Congress passed the legislation. When news of the tax spread to western Pennsylvania, individuals immediately voiced their displeasure by refusing to pay the tax. Residents viewed this tax as yet another instance of unfair policies dictated by the eastern residents that created problems for people in the frontier. Western farmers felt the tax was an attack from federal authority, wrongly targeting a demographic that relied on crops such as corn, rye, and grain to earn a profit. However, shipping this harvest eastward was bad because of poor storage and dangerous roads. As a result, farmers frequently distilled their grain into liquor, such as whiskey, which was easier to ship and preserve. While large-scale farmers easily incurred the financial strain of an additional tax, poor farmers were less able to do so without falling into dire financial problems. President George Washington wanted to resolve this dispute peacefully. In 1792, he issued a national proclamation asking for Westerners for their resistance to the operation of the laws of the United States for raising revenue upon spirits distilled within the same. However, by 1794, the protests became violent. In July, nearly 400 whiskey rebels near Pittsburgh set fire to the home of John Neville, the regional tax collection supervisor. Left with little recourse and at urgings of Secretary Hamilton, Washington organized a militia force of 12,950 men and led them towards western Pennsylvania, warning locals not to abet, aid, or comfort the insurgents aforesaid, as they will answer the contrary at their peril. From this event in American history, we can learn two things from this occurrence. One is to stand up for what you believe in and what is right. These insurgents believed that this tax was wrong, so they stood up and protested. Even though it was quite violent, it was right. We should always stand up for what is right too. Like if someone's bullying you, speak up. One other lesson is to consider other people and their ideas. People in this event didn't consider what the poor farmers thought, and it was wrong. So you should let everyone pitch in to help when they can.